Okay, so we're going to begin standing up. So you can come towards the middle or the front of your space and put a little bit of space in between your feet, maybe more than hip distance. So the farther away the feet are, the easier it's going to be to not have to work very hard to stand up because you've got your stance pretty wide. And you can rest your arms just wherever they land. So whether your palms turn forward or turn out, whatever just naturally happens with your arms. And go ahead and take a full breath in through your nose, let your shoulders move. And when you breathe out, relax a bit and let your eyes softly close. And just notice what's going on. Notice whatever you feel. And then without affecting or doing anything kind of on purpose with your posture, just start to rock kind of forward and back on your feet. Don't hold anything or try to stand extra tall. Don't try to keep your knees bent or straight. Just kind of rock forward and back on your feet and see what happens. And then we'll rock gently just side to side. So you lean into one foot and then into the other. Again, just see what happens. And then find this place where you can land right in the middle. Add just a tiny bit of softness to your knees. And then feel as though, so knees just ever so slightly bend, your center of gravity dropped maybe an inch. Feel as though you could hold onto the floor with your feet and then pull your feet away from each other like the floor was a piece of paper and you were trying to rip it. And just notice what you feel. As you pull the floor away, as you pull your feet away, rock forward and back once or twice. As you pull your feet away, rock side to side once or twice. Push your feet away from each other, pull your feet away. And then come to the center. Go ahead and let your knees straighten and roll your shoulders around. Have a big breath in and a slow breath out. Now feel the sensation of squeezing your feet in towards each other. Hold on to the floor with all of the toes that touch the floor. Hold on to the floor with the ball of the feet and with the heel. Squeeze your feet in towards each other. Rock forward and back a little bit. Just a little. Rock side to side. Squeeze your feet in towards each other. And then land somewhere in the center and relax. Oh, when you're ready to, separate your feet out and turn your heels in and your forefeet out a little bit, like if you were going into a standard kind of squat. So for me, and this is particular for me, I have to have my feet turned out quite a bit. Some people will have their feet more facing forward to get the hips low. Don't be too specific with it. We'll get into that later. And when you're ready to, now, we'll take some deep breaths and we're going to do just a bit of a breathing exercise. So inhale really fully, like your lungs started at your knees and ended at your head and you were filling them up. And exhale. So we're really breathing in quite deeply. So it's a bit exciting for the body to breathe this way. Inhale even more. Whenever you're ready to, fill up. And exhale. We'll do that one more time. Maybe at the end of the exhale, you squeeze the breath out a little bit. So it feels a little bit uncomfortable. Just let it happen. Inhale really fully for this last round of it. And let it go. Maybe squeeze a little more out when you get to the end of the exhale. Now let your eyes open. When you're ready, inhale. Just inhale until the body says stop and then stop and hold your breath. After you inhale, hold your breath. And then you're going to bring your arms forward, hold your breath, lower down into a squat, holding your breath. And then when you're ready to, you're going to exhale and stand up. Inhale, normal, doesn't have to be crazy full. Just inhale. When you get to the top, hold your breath. And then holding the breath, squat low. And exhale to come up. You're going to do that a couple more times. You're going to inhale, and then you'll hold your breath and squat. And when you exhale, you're going to push yourself up. So this holding of the breath changes the volume in the torso in a way that can support the spine when you go into a deep squat. We're just playing with it. We're not going to hold the breath when we start moving more. But whenever you're ready, on your own, you'll inhale fully. You'll hold the breath in squat. And then you'll exhale to push yourself up. You'll inhale fully. Hold the breath in squat. Very good. And exhale to push yourself up. 1 or 2 more times. Do whatever you want with your arms and only squat down as far as you can without tucking your tailbone. So try not to tuck your tailbone. You don't have to lift your hips really high. You don't have to stick your butt out too much. Just only go down so far as you feel your tailbone does not tuck. All right. The next time you exhale and stand up, turn your feet so they're parallel to each other. When you're ready, take a breath in, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And as you breathe out, bend your knees a little bit and fold forward. Take a breath in, place the hands to the legs, bring your fingertips to the floor and step the left foot back. And let's just introduce slower breathing or ujjayi breathing so we can bring the body to a state of a little more calm. And as you breathe in, feel your right heel press into the floor. As you breathe out, feel your left knee bend. Inhale, lift your left knee up. Exhale, step the left foot forward, fold, relax. Inhale, place the hands to the legs, lift your back up however high you want to. Exhale, release your fingertips to the floor, send the right leg back. And just let your breath slow. When you're ready, pushing onto the floor with everything touching it, let your right knee bend some. And then lift it really high. And go ahead and pushing off the floor with your back toes, step forward and fold. Inhale, lift your back up some. Exhale, fold. And let's come up to stand however you want to. You can round your back or you can lead with your torso, with your chest, whatever feels best. But eventually reach your arms or let your arms hang by your sides. Now we're going to place the fingertips, one set or a couple of fingers to the hips and the other to the waist or the rib cage, whatever you can reach. You might be holding on to parts of bone, parts of flesh, whatever it is, wherever you land is fine. We're just going to see if we can keep things kind of lined up. Not because we have to, just because we're doing that for now. Bend the knees a little bit, find your breath. Lean into your right foot and feel as though you're pushing your right foot to the right. Like remember when you were pulling your feet away from each other? You're doing that with just your right foot. You're pulling your right foot to the right. Let your left foot float off the floor. And when you're ready to, reach your left foot forward. Try not to tuck your tailbone. Try not to lift your sit bones. And then exhale, let your left foot kind of hang. Now take that left foot, reach it out to the left. Bring it back to center, let it hang. Take that left foot, reach it back in space. Bring it back to center, let it hang. Place the left foot to the floor, straighten your legs, relax your arms. When you're ready to, place your fingertips, one set to the waist or rib cage, one finger or two fingers, whatever, to your hips. Bend the knees a little bit. Feel as though you could pull your feet away from each other like you're ripping up the mat between them. Find your breath. Feel your right foot just float off the floor. It doesn't matter if the knee goes forward or back or out, whatever your body needs to do, but keep your hips and your rib cage relatively level. Go ahead and reach your right foot forward. And then let it hang at the center, wherever it lands. Feel like you're dragging your left foot to the left. Reach your right leg out to the right. And then to center. Without letting your torso move too much. Reach your right leg back in space. Bring it back to center. Place the foot to the floor, straighten your legs, relax your arms. When you're ready, again, a set of fingertips to your hips and a set to your rib cage. Put a tiny bend in the knees. Feel like you're trying to pull your right foot to the right, reach your left foot forward. Now this time, as you reach your foot forward, see if you can push into the floor with your right foot some more and lower your right hip down some. Go ahead and lift your right hip up a little bit. Let your left foot come to center, pause, find your breath. Just like before, reach your left foot to the left some. And if you need to put the toes to the floor, go ahead. If you don't, don't. But feel like you are dragging your right foot to the right. And then bend your right knee more, lower your hips towards the floor, and then straighten that right leg some. Bring your left foot back to center. Now this time, reach your left foot back just like we did. Keep your hips, your pelvis that is, and your rib cage quite level. Reach that left leg back and slowly start to bend your right knee more, lower your right hip more. And then this time, stretch your left foot back and land in a lunge. Feel like you could take your left hip point and move it back and up, and then lift your torso some. Left hip point back and up. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, let your right knee bend. Left hip point is lifting up and moving back in space. Inhale, feel your feet hold on to the floor. And exhale, maybe lift your left knee a little higher. Breathe in as you're ready to, and then breathe out, bring your fingertips down. Bring your left knee down and reach your right foot up behind you. So you're on your hands and your left knee. Good. So left knee's on the floor, lean into your hands, look forward. Inhale, lift that right leg up pretty high. Exhale, let your right knee come to center, almost like it was gonna touch the floor. When you're ready, reach your right leg out to the right, like a fire hydrant, like you're a dog at a fire hydrant, and then let the right knee drop down. And then reach that right leg up behind you. And then let the right knee drop down just to center near your left knee. With breath, right hip reaches to the right. And slowly down. Right leg reaches back, straighten it. And slowly down. Right hip to the right. Slowly down, one more time. Right leg back, straighten it, lift it, lift it, lift it. Tuck your tailbone, lower the right leg. Right knee lifts to the right. This time, take that right knee and reach it towards the right shoulder so you can put your right foot down near your right pinky. Lift onto your fingertips, find your breath. Lift the left knee up. We're gonna turn so that we can stand up and end up with the feet turned out into a wide-legged stance, but more like a sumo squat than a warrior two. So heels in, 4 feet out. Hands to the hips. Breathe in. And then exhale, let's bend the knees. So the hips lower. You're gonna lean into your right leg, let your left leg straighten some, push your right heel into the floor. And then go ahead and come on back to center. Lean into your left leg, push your left heel into the floor, and then come on back to center. Don't lift the hips up. Lean into your right leg, push that right heel into the floor, come back to center. Maybe the hands are together in front of you. Lean into your left leg, push that left heel into the floor, come back to center. One more time. Right leg, push the heel down, come to center. Lean to the left side, push the left heel down, come to center. And now here, push your feet away from each other. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling, find your breath. Push your feet away from each other, and then lower your hips a little more and a little less. A little more and a little less. Again. Just letting the hips pulse up and down a couple times. The feet push away from each other like you're ripping the mat up in between them. And then straighten your legs. Relax your arms. Step up to the front of the space. One set of fingertips to the pelvis, one set to maybe the thumbs, to the rib cage or the waist. Bend the knees a little. Again, we're going to try not to let the pelvis hike up or forward or back. We're trying to keep it level. Not because we always have to. That's just what we're doing. Lift your right foot up. It just floats in the air. Feel as though your left foot was still pulling out to the left. Like both feet were still on the floor, pulling away from each other, but it's just your left foot doing it. And then your right leg reaches forward, maybe it straightens some. And you lower your center of gravity down. So lower your hips towards the floor and then lift them a little. Let the right knee back off Maybe your feet are more level with each other. Reach the right leg out to the right. And then lower the left hip. And then lift a little. And now take that right leg, you can bring it to center first, reach it back in space. The torso is going to be tilted a little forward, but you're really lifting your right hip. Hip points level with each other. Lower your center of gravity. So feel that left foot holding onto the floor as you lower your hips, breathe, and then send the right leg back into a lunge. And after you get there, you're going to take your right hip point, move it back and up. So it's like you're taking the right side of your pelvis, shifting it back in space, and then tucking your right sit bone under. You can lift your torso as high as feels good on your back. If you can't find a way to sit up really tall that feels good on your back, then let your right knee bend more. That's fine. Anytime in any class you want to do that. That will take some of the load, some of the intensity out of the back. If it feels good though, right now maybe, lift your right hip higher. So you feel how much that leg's engaging. Now maybe you feel as you breathe, your left leg too, reach your arms up. Remember, a lot of the muscle, a lot of the work in the hips comes from stability, comes from trying to keep us from falling as we move. A lot of the beauty of movement comes from not moving in certain places. When you're ready, go ahead and bring your fingertips to the floor. Release your right knee and hand all the way down, and then stretch the left leg back. So I would say while it's harmless to lift the face up, it might feel nice to tuck the chin a little bit. That left leg is lifted pretty high. See what it feels like to find just the slightest tuck in the tailbone. So again, left hip point reaches up towards left side of the rib cage, and this is going to keep the hip engaged more. Go ahead, let that left knee bend and almost meet the right knee on the floor. And then engage in the whole leg, reach the left knee out to the left and let it drop again. And straighten it, lift it up behind you and let it drop again. Left knee to the left, slowly down. Left leg stretches back in space, lift that hip up, up, up. And slowly down. Again, to the left, to center. Back, to center. To the left, to center. Now one more time. Reach the leg back, and to center. And to the left. And then, take that left knee as you breathe towards your left shoulder, and then place the foot at the front of the mat somewhere. It doesn't matter where. Come on to your fingertips, tuck your right toes, lift the knee up, spin the heel to the floor, and come up to stand. So just take a moment to take a little mini break. If you want to turn so you can see the screen more, feel free. You're going to wiggle your feet so they're a little bit closer to each other. Like a narrowish squat. And then you're going to place a hand towards your low back where your sacrum is. So kind of on the butt, kind of on the low back. And then maybe another hand to your abdomen. And you're just going to try when you go down to not let your tailbone tuck. So when you're ready, breathe in. And when you breathe out, your hand is going to feel when the tailbone starts to tuck. Go ahead and lower down, only so far as you can go, with your feet pushing away from each other. And your tailbone not tucking. So as soon as you feel like your pelvis is going to shift forward towards the belly button, it means you went down a little too far for now. And then you're going to straighten your legs. Good. And exhale, go down again, only so far as you can. The knees can move forward some, but only go down as far as you can without letting your tailbone tuck, and then come back up. Good. And if you want, you can place the opposite hand to your low back. Exhale down. Don't let your tailbone tuck. Inhale up. Exhale down. Don't let your tailbone tuck at all. Inhale up. Remember, even if that means you can't go as low as we often would in a maybe yoga malasana. And then, very good. Let's bring the hands together, or even make a fist with one of your hands and hold on to the other. Hold on to it with the other. But now we're going to go not faster than the breath, just a little bit faster than that. So you're going to go down and up. And then you're going to step a foot out to the side. Good. And you're going to go down again and up. And then bring that foot back and exhale down and up. And step the other foot out to the side, down and up, back to center, down and up, wide squat, down and up. So one leg reaches out, you end up in a sumo squat, and then you come back to center and go into a narrow squat, only going as far down as you can while not letting your tailbone tuck. I like to squat on the inhale and the exhale. I switch it up on purpose. I used to only go down on the exhale, but you might find that if you exhale on the way up, like when we were doing earlier, when we were playing with those breath retentions, it feels a little different, maybe better on your back. We're almost done. We're gonna do one more to each side. So the next time you step your left foot back and come to center, you can just straighten your legs. Step up to the front of the mat and take a moment to relax. You might close your eyes. You might sense your feet pulling away from each other and squeezing in again. When you're ready to, hands to hips. Let your left foot float off the floor. Open your eyes. So what we're going to play with now is the idea, doesn't matter how low you go, of getting the left knee, so it's bent, left foot's bent, of getting the left knee to get close to the floor behind the right foot. First thing, let your left hip point lift up so it's level with your right one. Find your breath. Inhale and exhale. Hold on to the floor with your right foot, and then slowly lower yourself towards the floor with the aim of getting the left knee real close to the floor, and then stand back up. And then again, down, maybe it's on the inhale, maybe it's the exhale, and back up. 3 more times. Take your time. Try to move the whole body and as one unit. And then, when you're ready, as if you were going to go into one more, like a 6th one, you'll reach your left foot back. Release your fingertips. Lower your left knee, and then reach your right foot in the air behind you like we were doing before, but this time, the right knee is going to stay bent. The tailbone is going to stay tucked. And you're going to lift your right knee as high as you can, and then lower it. You can lift on the inhale or the exhale, but lift with the tailbone tucked and lower. And lift and lower. And lift and lower. One more time. Lift. And then take the right knee and bring it towards the right wrist. Stretch the left leg back. And shimmy your right foot somehow over to the left in pigeon prep. Now, if this bothers your knees or your back, I would say just stay here or roll onto your back if you need to. We're only going to be here for about 3 breaths. So if you can settle for just a tiny bit of time, perhaps feeling your legs drag in towards each other, please do. Go ahead and lean into your right hip. You can walk your hands over to the right to give you some more space, and then take your left leg and bring it forward so you end up sitting down. And you're going to stack your left shin on top of your right shin. For double pigeon, if you'd rather go into cow face pose, so when your knees are really quite bent and at more of an angle, that's fine too. We're just going to fold forward for a few breaths. So whenever you're ready to have a breath in, go ahead and fold. And sit back up. Place the feet to the floor in front of you. Bring the arms forward, inhale. And then when you exhale, you're gonna round your back and lower onto the ground. You might place a blanket underneath your shoulders here. We're gonna go up into bridge pose. So feet to the floor, arms by the sides. Let's turn the feet so that the heels are pointing in and the forefeet are pointing out. So we're really targeting the hips, especially the outer hips here, instead of some of the other places in the legs that we would target in a more standard bridge pose. Tuck your tailbone and lift your hips up. Now you can do whatever you need to take some of the pressure off of your neck, but the added height of the blanket will help some too. A lifting of the chin can help some too, but you're really gonna pull onto the floor. I'm using push and pull interchangeably here. That's not really very accurate, but I just want you to feel as though you were connecting to the floor under your feet. Maybe that's by holding onto the floor with your heels and your toes. Maybe it's by pulling the floor almost into your legs, the sense of that, or pushing the floor away. All these things can activate your hips. And then let's lower down. Take your time. Hug the knees in if you'd like. Make your way up to sit. And then from here, we're going to come up to stand. You might do that by coming into a quick malasana first, with or without using your hands to help you. Stand up. One set of fingertips to your hips, one to your rib cage. Focus your eyes and feel your right foot float up off of the floor. Breathe in. Connect the left foot to the floor, and then lower, exhale, your hips down, like you're trying to get your right knee close to the floor. Back up. So keep going. Now again, I'm saying get the right knee close to the floor. That's a visual. You can get your right knee close to the floor by throwing the whole body off alignment, which wouldn't hurt you. But see if instead, for the sake of keeping your hips and your torso moving as one unit, see if you can lower everything at once. So even though, yes, the right knee gets quite close to the floor, try to move your torso and back at the same time. And then this time, or the next time you're close to the floor, you're going to reach your right leg back and lower the toes and lower the hands. And then the right knee as well, and lift your left leg up behind you. With the knee bent and the sensation of the left glutes moving towards the left knee, you're going to lift your knee even higher and then lower it some. Lift it even higher and lower it. Even here, anytime you want to, place the hands to the pelvis just to see where things are, and make sure you don't have one hip too far up or down. Because you're moving your bones, you're going to be able to feel your hips more or less depending on where you're at in the sequence. The next time you lift your knee up, slide it forward so it comes to the left wrist. Reach the right leg back and you can shimmy your lower front leg to the side. The goal here is to feel a bit of a tug or a stretch on the left hip. Make sure you don't feel anything in the bends in the body that's uncomfortable, so no joint pulling or straining. You might even squeeze your legs in towards each other, so stay kind of elevated here. You don't have to back bend. The torso can be as close to the floor as you want. And we'll lean into the left hip. Take the right leg around, stacking your shins. There's always the option of stretching the bottom leg out on the floor. There's always the option of stacking pillows or cushions underneath you for extra height. Remember, because the goal here is to find an easy kind of static stretch in the hips, you can do that however you need to in a way that doesn't strain your joints or your back. So just taking the weight of your torso over the legs. Slow down the breath. And come up to sit. And then lie down on your back, however you like. Bend the elbows. Maybe the arms go out to a T. Let your knees drop over to one side. If you'd like to cross your ankle, either ankle, over the opposite leg, feel free. Remember, if it's the bottom leg that has the ankle on top, you'll probably feel more of a stretch in your hip. We'll come back to center and switch sides. Remember, you don't have to make this necessarily a hip stretch. You can keep it in your back. Do whatever feels the best or the sweetest in your body right now. But I want the body to start understanding that the work is over. And knees back to center. Limbs stretched out for Shavasana. Just a quick couple-minute rest. If you would like to reach your legs up on a wall or a piece of furniture or just in the air, feel free. And possibly repeat to yourself, like a mantra, the word ease. Knowing the meaning of the word, the sort of attitude and atmosphere of the word, the feeling of ease, that's what we're trying to create and conjure. So everything that comes up, and it truly has to be everything, despite whether you call it good or bad, everything that comes up, you welcome. And you generate this atmosphere of ease. Whatever comes up. And if you have the time to stay here longer, please do. You can always turn off the video. If you are ready now to start moving and coming out of your resting pose, feel free, eventually coming up to sit. And possibly noticing along the way and while you sit, all of these things like hands grabbing your attention. Well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And every time with this sense, not pushing anything away, not only grabbing one or two things, but this sense of all over equanimity and welcoming. And even a bit of softness, effortlessness. Just be with it. And if you'd like to fold forward, drag the hands behind you, hold on to one with the other, have a breath in, and relax. Exhale. Thank you very, very much.